Okay, good morning. It's starting to feel like spring around here. Isn't that great? All right, so why did the Scarecrow win an award? He was outstanding in his field. So why did the tomato turn red? Saw the salad dressing. Much cleaner version. So now that I've set the bar low for the talk, let me tell you why we're really here today. You know, the world is speeding up, not only in technological advances, but also in terms of like energy. The planet itself is speeding up. We're losing like a second or something a year. Energy and consciousness is speeding up. Have you noticed that? I think that's part of why we see this divide, not only in this country, but in the world. And we are also becoming more aware of our connectedness. Some of that could be social media, but I think a lot of that is just we're becoming aware. We're becoming more aware. And in all of that, I think being in harmony is key. Now, with all the crazy going on, in truth, the harmony piece may be a little hard to swallow right now. But that's why we're here. We gather here, we join in community, in person or Zoom or internet or however. We allow our consciousness to trend towards that harmony. And we take people with us when we do that. To me, that is our responsibility. My responsibility is to see past the crazy, right? And embrace the love. And that's kind of what we're going to look at this month. We're going to look at that whole idea of how we, individually and together, can have a positive impact in the collective consciousness. How we can join the masses in raising things up. In the Tao, it's written that before the beginning of great brilliance, there is always chaos. And we are here to see the brilliance behind, above and beyond the current chaos. Because I think we all know people who are allowing the current chaos to impact their lives, their happiness, their joyfulness, their relationships, right? But we have that opportunity to join the masses in raising it. From Ernest Holmes. He writes, "The gardener goes forth to sow his seeds. He has learned that as he sows, he shall reap, that the law works for all alike." So being that transformative agent, being that one candle, that one beacon of light, I want to look at that idea of how we plant seeds, both literally and metaphorically. We plant those seeds that nurture ourselves and the planet, that allow us to bring that peace and that love and that joy that can rise above all the other noise. Because as we view it as noise, it becomes just that in our lives, noise. It no longer becomes an influence. It's just noise. Because we all know that the truth is within. That's what I love about the reading this morning. Allowed us to see that truth, right? Thich Nhat Hanh does such a beautiful job of interweaving our personal goodness, our human goodness, and the goodness of the planet all into one. And in truth, that's what it is. It's all one. We may not like some of the things, people, experiences that we're interconnected with, right? But we can influence it. And the reason we can influence it as Holmes stated, is because of the law of nature, the law of cause and effect. Period. Whether we know it, whether we can identify it, whether we've heard of it, that cause and effect, that law of attraction, that thing that says what your predominant thought, feeling, emotion, action, words, is what's bringing to you this life, this thing that we're experiencing as life. And the law is completely and totally infallible and impersonal. And those are the two pieces I want to really hone in on, because we tend to forget about them, right? We do our prayer work, we do our spiritual practice. We say, okay, I'm really clear on what I want, what I really want, whatever that is, right? And then, how many of us set aside all of that and start looking for it to appear, right? Well, I've been treating for this. I've been doing spiritual mind treatment for this. Where is it? Well, it's waiting to be birthed. And when that birth happens, it's because we're no longer waiting for it. We're no longer seeking it. It has now started to seek us, because the law is infallible and impersonal. So if it's not suiting up and showing up for us, that's because we, I believe, have not provided the space, the fertile soil, so to speak. We have not nurtured it into our existence for one reason or another. So let's talk about that idea of being infallible. Now, I'm not talking about man-made laws, right? Cause and effect. I'm talking about that universal law. That universal law that is the same law that creates gravity. That same law that creates electricity. And as I said, believe it or not, aware of it or not, consciously using it or not, always using it. Because that is how we experience life. What we think about is what comes about. And when we consciously think about it, we consciously bring it about. And when we unconsciously think about it, we still bring it about. Ernest Holmes said, the law of cause and effect is as infallible and impartial as the law of mathematics. Henry David Thoreau, the universe constantly and obediently answers our conceptions of it. Buddha wrote it so poetically. The thought manifests the word manifests the deed develops into habit, the habit hardens into character. So watch thoughts and its ways with care, and let it spring from love born out of concern for all beings. As the shadow follows the body, as we think, so we become. Isn't that lovely? Yogananda wrote, as water by cooling and condensation becomes ice, so thought by condensation assumes physical form. Everything in the universe is thought in material form. It rains down on all of us alike, as it says in the Bible, right? No word shall come forth from my mouth and be void. So if there are things lacking, it's not about getting busy praying harder or being a better person. It's about being open. It's about giving what is ours to give, in whatever means we choose to give it. Which takes us to that idea of the law being impersonal. Impersonal. It plays no favorites. It doesn't care about our race, our gender, our politics. It doesn't care about any of that. Yes, my beloved is the declaration of that divine energy that creates everything. Yes, my beloved. It is we who judge and compare and decide if we're worthy or not worthy, if someone else is worthy or not worthy. That is all of our humanness. Because our essence remembers that we are the beloved. And from that impersonal place, the universe has to say yes. It doesn't say yes just to the great things that it knows it's good for us, right? It says yes to all of it because there's no judgment. There's no big, there's no small, there's no right, there's no wrong. It just, it's uniform. It doesn't support our whims and our fancies. It supports our truth. And the clearer we get on our truth, the faster all of that gets to manifest. You know, the law of electricity, Holmes uses it a lot in the textbook. And the law of electricity's always been there, right? It's just a matter of man figuring out how to harness it. And that electricity works the same whether we're awake or asleep, aware of it or unaware of it. Just like the law of gravity. Just like math, 2 + 2. But the thing is that idea of electricity, we take it for granted. The law of gravity, we take it for granted. The law of cause and effect, I believe all of us take somewhat, we just take it for granted. And we forget to consciously use it, to court it, to allow it space and time to work in our life. So that idea of cause and effect, that idea this month we're looking at is that seed thought, right? That seed thought. We can plant what we choose to plant. And we can be assured of what we plant now will harvest. Just as we could take a look at our life now and see what seeds we have planted and are harvesting. Because nothing is just by coincidence. We have in our life what we have in our life. When we plant, we are always planting seed thoughts in our minds and in our hearts, and they're going to bear fruit, whether it be positive or negative, in our personal judgment, right? We can sow those seeds of love and joy and kindness and peace. We can sow those seeds of success and freedom and bring everybody along with us. Or we can be angry. We could be judgmental. We can plant those seeds of, oh, poor me, and just get more of that, oh, poor me, which I would like to think all of us are ready to give up. Because it serves no purpose. Cultivating anything but positivity and love serves no purpose in our lives. And we do these things, I do these things without even knowing it, right? There are times I'm watching the news and instead of rising above the noise, it's like, oh my God, how could that have happened? Who could have possibly done something like that, right? And then I get kind of caught up in it. And I start getting pretty angry. Or depressed. You know, it's like, not another one again. But that's just that humanness. That's that, how does that go? That is just our bloated nothingness that's getting in the way of our circuits. That bloated nothingness is when we're bringing ourselves down to that level of ego and fear and doubt. And I know that my God, my Creator, my version of universal energy is goodness and it's wholeness and it's love. And when I can rise back to that place and feel the pain of those people acting out, then I can begin to heal me. because me is the only thing I can heal. And as long as I'm proud and happy with the seeds that I'm planting in my heart, then I can also be full of grace and forgiveness for the seeds that other people have planted. Because the thing is, once you plant the seeds, they have to be nurtured, right? Everything has to be cared for. So, in addition, this month, to one spiritual practice, I am inviting all of us to take a look at other practices that we can use to nurture the planet by nurturing ourselves, by nurturing those lovely positivity seeds we've planted. And it starts off with gratitude. Gratitude, it's the key to happiness. Eckhart Tolle tells us, acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. Practicing forgiveness. Forgiveness in terms of inner peace. Not forgiveness in terms of what they have done, but forgiveness for ourselves. Louise Hay was an incredible, powerful woman, all about forgiveness. She knew you could heal your life. You could heal your life just through spiritual practice, through creating a new future, through forgiving ourselves. She wrote in her book, I don't remember what book now that I think about it. She wrote, forgiveness is for ourselves, not for the other person, because holding on to anger only hurts us. Only outpictures in our mind, in our body, and in our affairs. Which takes us to this idea of practicing kindness in whatever way. You've all heard the story of me being told to bring flowers to my spiritual mentor. We're going to have a prayer session, a counseling session, but bring me flowers. I thought, how selfish, right? But then I went to pick out the flowers, and it was so wonderful. I was getting out of my own way and doing something good for someone else. So be it flowers or a smile or just go out on a walk and just thank the world. Kindness. Kindness will show up. Now, some of us, a lot of us, are thinking, wait a second, that's a lot of work, right? To have that constant visual of rising above. To have that idea of always having to be upbeat and positive and loving and brilliant. But none of that is really true. None of it is true. Because the truth is that it is so much easier to be in harmony with our good, in harmony with the planet, than it is to be working out of fear and out of resentment and out of stressful, I gotta think this way, I gotta think this way. It's about, you don't have to think any way. You just have to be willing to set an intention, to open your heart, and then to follow it. It's not hard. It doesn't have to be hard. Have you ever tried, when you're in a pool, to like hold a ball down, like a beach ball down under the water? You can do it. You can do it for a while. But after a while, sooner or later it wins, right? Unless you puncture it, it's gonna win. And that's kind of like, to me, what those good, harmonious vibes that we have, those incredibly positive desires and dreams, we can't hold them down for long. Sooner or later, that 2x4 shows up, right? And Spirit's like, okay, pay attention now. Let's do this. I'm going to quote Holmes again. It takes less energy to live constructively than it does destructively. It takes no energy to have faith, while fear devastates our energy. It takes no energy to love. It is hate that is destructive and hard to hold to. It does not take mental or physical energy to be happy, but unhappiness and morbidity consume so much energy that it devastates us, both mentally and physically. It does not take mental or physical energy to build up hope, but it only takes one thought of despair to block us. We all know it takes a lot less energy to be authentic than unauthentic, to try to meet everybody else's expectations or images. So what if we just settled in and we said, okay, this is me. This is what I desire. And this is who I intend to suit up and show up as. And then we just stand in our power. What if we did that? What if we planted those seeds that we really, really want? And then just go about being who we authentically are. And let divine, loving action take over. This week, I invite you to take some time and go for a walk. Notice the goodness that's flowing all around you. And think about what in your life is working and what isn't working. Think about what you want more of. And then go about planting and nurturing those seeds while you're making the world around you a little better place to be. That's your assignment. So I have a couple ideas for you. First, plant 3 rows of peas. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of soul. Then 4 rows of squash. Squash gossip, indifference, complaining, and negativity. Just squash it. And then, how about some lettuce? Let us be faithful. Let us be kind. Let us be patient. Let us love one another. And of course, we can't have a garden without turnips, right? Because we got to plan for the future. So we have to turn up for service, turn up to help each other, turn up for your life. Just turn up for it. If we just turn up for it, it's amazing what shows up. And of course, we have to plant some time. Time to play, time to rest, time for spiritual growth, time for God, time to tend our own soul. This is the first Sunday in May. We have a lovely planting season ahead of us. And together, we can plant the most incredible garden. Please know that the staff in this center, there's powerful staff of trained, licensed, spiritual mind practitioners, is supporting that garden, supporting each and every one of us as we plant those seeds, consciously, lovingly, and with great joy. So it is.